Joseph Kabui was a president under pressure. Just over a week ago, he died of a heart attack at the age of 54.
Thanks, Guru.
This was the last journey President Kabui made into the heart of his homeland. He had grand plans for his so-called Treasure Island, with its wealth of precious metals.
I like to see Bougainville become a Kuwait of the Pacific. That's my dream.
Only weeks before his death, the president gave this Australian businessman rights to much of the island's mineral riches.
In terms of integrity, in terms of character, he was a giant amongst men.
But who will get Bougainville's billions now the president's gone?
And for those that are trying to sell Bougainville, in that deal, you might as well pack up and go.
Deep in the heart of Bougainville's jungle lie reminders of a painful past. In its day, the huge Australian-owned Panguna copper mine was one of the richest in the world. It accounted for nearly half of PNG's export earnings until civil war destroyed it.
I mean, we slaughtered one another. Mother against mother, father-in-law against son-in-law, brother against brother, sister against sister. That's what went through.
Joseph Kabui was the political mastermind behind the independence movement.
Ever since God created the universe, Bougainville has been separate.
More than 10,000 lives were lost in the Civil War, sparked by landowners after a bigger share of the mining company's profits.
I mean, had they done simple things like providing roads into villages, providing electricity into the villages, providing, educational facilities, for landowners, those sort of things, had they done that, could have led to avoiding the sort of problems that we went through. So I think that was the biggest mistake.
As part of the peace process, the PNG government gave Bougainville limited powers to govern itself. 3 years ago, Joseph Kabui was elected president of Bougainville, but the region remains financially dependent on Port Moresby.
Funding has been our biggest enemy. It's been our number one enemy all along.
2 months ago, President Kabui pulled off his greatest achievement in office, persuading the PNG government to give Bougainville control over its own resources.
You've got the money, you've got the funds, sky is the limit.
Bougainville's open for business, so we head out to see the once mighty Panguna copper mine. The journey takes us south, where rebel fighters refuse to join the peace process, an obstacle in the president's plans for progress.
If anybody crosses Niba, just shoot it and report it to me, what you have done.
Chris Uma made a name for himself as a rebel who chased the Australian miners out of town nearly 20 years ago.
This way, you come this way.
The self-styled General Uma now heads up what he calls the Royal Kingdom of Mekamui. His officials work out of a ransacked mining company house. General Uma believes his people should govern Bougainville, not the autonomous Bougainville government, the ABG.
Peace process, you know in behind it.
Nijana kau manipura kong koring ABC, emrong oro wampara lain dikirik dain tasor, usatori ori sabe man. Ori kising kut pra influences dongro white man ya. Ori pomin nisra EBC government. Look at the people one time traditional blongol, one time culture blongol. Ori support Mekamui.
The Mekamui people live in poverty. There's been no progress since the crisis ended. No money to even remove the ruins. Chris Uma's ambition to rule Bougainville might be hard to take seriously, but the same can't be said for his guns. He controls the Panguna mine site. We're now heading up to the checkpoint which stops outsiders going through to the Panguna mine. Basically, since the crisis happened, very few people have been allowed past this point. PNG government officials, Bougainville government officials, police, soldiers, and especially the mining company. We have permission from the General of the Mekamui Defence Force to pass through, so we're on the last leg to the Panguna mine. During 18 years of operation, the Australian mining company, now called Bougainville Copper Limited, or BCL, and owned by Rio Tinto, dug its way to more than 3 million tonnes of copper and gold. It was an around-the-clock operation, employing 3,000 locals and hundreds of expats. The riches that are still buried in the soil have not been forgotten by the outside world. The mine could have at least 20 years of life left in it.
Yes, I'd love to get back and have a look at very fond memories for me, Bougainville and working at the mine.
Based in Sydney, BCL's chairman, Peter Taylor, hasn't set foot at the mine since the crisis. But with today's copper prices at a high, he wants back in.
If you assume that we were producing about 170,000 tonnes of copper a year and about 500,000 ounces of gold, you're talking probably $1.5 billion.
Development I have come pass. Development I have come pass. Mining I have come behind.
Chris Uma and his people are prepared to have BCL back as long as their living conditions improve. But President Kabui had other plans. He told BCL's major shareholder, Rio Tinto, the company wasn't welcome.
The best way for Rio Tinto, with the backdrop of what we went through, is perhaps for Rio Tinto to withdraw, or BCL to withdraw, and allow new players to come in.
To find out who these new players are, you need to talk to this man.
A lot of fighting, yes. This hill, small knoll here, became a strategic location.
In the space of a few years, Sam Koona went from rebel army commander to President Kabui's key financial advisor, and he's not even on the government payroll.
We have to, as Bougainvilleans, take full control of that resource. And that is why I have come up with a arrangement with some very special, very genuine, interested persons from abroad.
This is one of them, Lindsay Semple, an Australian based in Canada.
Lindsay Semple, out of hundreds of interested investors that came into Bougainville, stands out to be that person, that special person who is genuine, who is able to listen to the way people think. Look, out of hundreds, I have chosen Lindsay because in my heart, I feel that he's that person Bougainville needs.
Sam Kaona and Lindsay Semple created a company called Invincible Resources and offered the president a deal he couldn't resist.
It's the best arrangement ever.
It's free money.
It's free money. That's why Invincible is top.
What he's talking about is an $8 million payment made from Invincible to the Bougainville government.
Invincible is a company that was prepared to risk itself. It is a company that took, in fact, it gambled when they decided to come to help Bougainville with the initial 20 million to assist us out. At a time when Bougainville, the ABG for that matter, was really, cash-strapped.
Overweight and suffering from heart disease, the president dipped into the Invincible payment to keep himself alive. He spent well over $100,000 on medical treatment, including a heart bypass operation in Cairns. Invincible got its quid pro quo and then some. It set up this gold processing lab and got the president's approval to export $16 million worth of Bougainville's alluvial gold, doubling its initial $8 million upfront payment. And how much gold do you think you've collected so far since you've been open?
Whoa. We've made 2 exports already.
President Kabui's courtship with Invincible goes back more than 3 years. The company donated $8,000 to Mr. Kabui's election campaign, even though it's illegal for candidates to accept donations from foreigners. 6 weeks ago, they went public with their secret business arrangement. They took out a full page in PNG's main paper to announce a new deal, effectively giving Invincible a 70% share of the island's resources for up to 5 years. The agreement excludes the Panguna mine.
It's just a deal that's unconstitutional. It was not voted by the House. What person in his or her right frame of mind would go along with a deal like that? It's like you have somebody from Mars who comes in and says, hey, Bougainville, I want 70%, and you get 30%.
Francesca Somoso is the Deputy Speaker of the Bougainville government. Her interest is more than political. On Bougainville, the land is passed down through the women.
If it was a good deal, why weren't there any transparency when it was handled from the very beginning? There are Bougainvillean women, there are Bougainvillean men and youth that are asking the same question.
Amid growing outrage, President Kabui was forced to head out and sell Invincible to the people. He told us he hated these road trips as the bumpy ride caused him pain.
And by providing the marasin, and by start long healing stead, people blow me in all corners of Bougainville.
The local landowners weren't buying it, calling Invincible invisible.
Can you come out clear, not talking people of Bougainville, especially Timputs and Wakonai, who are the foreign investors?
No wonder Bougainvillians are angry. They've already had one war over foreign investment, and now they feel their land has been sold from under them again.
You waste the money of people of Bougainville.
So much lives has been lost over this issue that we are trying to repeat again. Is history going to repeat itself? And again, we let this company from nowhere that doesn't even feel Bougainville, that doesn't look Bougainville, that doesn't smell Bougainville, that doesn't believe Bougainville, they come into Bougainville and they say, we are the right people for you. Mr. President, we'll give you the best. This is the best deal for the people of Bougainville. Who the hell are they? You tell me.
We're dealing with people that are very successful businessmen. Not only successful, but we've seen them to be good people. I mean, you can be in a position to see from their body language, just you can have a general idea of what sort of a man you're dealing with. You know, somebody that is not honest, somebody that is not genuine, you can have a fair idea of him.
For a man who'd been revered as an astute leader, the people started to question the president's state of mind.
That is not good leadership. That is not good decision making. You cannot judge a company by the vibes they bring across to you. That is totally no.
Lindsay Semple promotes himself as a financial facilitator based in Vancouver. His relationship with Papua New Guineans began during his Rockhampton grammar school days. To find out more about Mr. Semple's past business dealings, we tracked down landowners just outside Port Moresby.
We're in the land where Lindsay came in with his operations, took out all the round logs for export.
Eugene Horovay's people signed a logging deal with Lindsay Semple and his foreign backers 8 years ago and claim they were offered an upfront payment.
Lindsay came in, brought in some money in a briefcase, trying to hand it over to the directors to get them to get back to the city to sign up the agreement.
It was meant to last 10 years, but the project turned sour after just a few months. The landowners claim they owed royalties, and the promised community developments never came. The company contracted to remove the logs says it was left almost $500,000 out of pocket.
Well, it cost us a lot of money and also it made us look stupid, which in this country is a big issue. You know, we had a lot of egg on our face. You know, we pride ourselves on our reputation.
Luke Fallon's attempt to track down the money proved fruitless.
We pursued it as much as we could onshore, but they disappeared very quickly from country, and one of the Canadian backers' sons actually ran an offshore bank, and they had, you know, set this up as a professional distance sort of business thing, isolating themselves, and we would be chasing them all over the place, and it would cost us too much money.
Lindsay Semple refused to speak on camera about the allegations, but vehemently denies them. He said he left the company before its demise, and even brought the landowners a new car. The national PNG government is now demanding answers. A leaked draft audit into what happened to Invincible's $8 million upfront payment is damning. Cash payments of more than $1 million to individuals, and almost $50,000 spent on repatriating the president's brother back from overseas.
Still intact. I mean, if people are worrying about corruption, there's other places that are far more corrupt. And I think in Bougainville, you don't see any real corruption in here on Bougainville. There are probably some elements of it, you know, we're trying to get rid of those sort of things in here. But it's nothing compared to what is happening in Port Moresby, what is happening in other third world countries.
In the face of growing opposition from his people, President Kabui refused to back down on the Invincible deal.
We argue on important issues.
He sacked key critics, including a cabinet minister, and was preparing to fight off a motion of no confidence when he died. In the hours leading up to his death, President Kabui received a letter from the PNG Prime Minister asking for an explanation. Bougainvilleans are deeply shocked over the loss of their president. They describe him as a true son of the island who led them through difficult times. The president may have gone, but the Invincible deal remains alive. It's impossible to say how much support there really is. Speaking before Mr. Kabui's death, at least one of the deal's critics was determined that Bougainville wouldn't once again be sold out to foreigners.
if ever it gets passed in Parliament, I will question and I will say, what's happened to Bougainville? Have we sold ourselves to the dogs?
Bougainville is an island of sorrow. Bougainville is an island of pain.
Right up until his death, President Kabui was adamant he only wanted the best for his people.